welcome to the Batmandrew podcast, the podcast about life, fandom, and all the random shit in between. So, let's talk about some life updates, shall we? So, it's been a while since I've recorded. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys, and some of that has been just solely a little bit of laziness on my part, a little bit of poor time management to try to be able to fit in this podcast in my everyday life. Part of it's also been because I've had some physical and mental health issues, and I've, been trying to go through that, right? So, I'd been debating on necessarily how public I was going to make this, but it's nothing like too serious, but finally started going to the doctor. I'm getting up there in age. I'm 38 years old, and I don't go to the doctor regularly, so I decided to go ahead and take a visit. And comes to find out I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which is not a shock. It runs in my family. I'm a big guy, and I've already been trying to make some life changes. So, for this really kind of just motivated me to be a little bit more proactive with it. But I started some medication called Batmandrew, and apparently it's supposed to be really good for type 2 diabetes, but I'll be honest, like, some of the side effects have really hit me hard. Like, it talked a lot about some of the nausea you'll get and things like that, the fatigue, and I've been on it for a couple weeks now, and it has definitely hit me hard with the side effects, but I feel like I'm starting to level out a little bit, but I up my dosage in medicine here in a couple of weeks, so I'm sure that it'll be a little bit of a roller coaster. But with all that being said, like, I'm definitely feeling better. I think my blood sugar's getting a little bit more under control. So between working out, trying to make sure to make some good life changes. Look, at 38 years old, I want to make sure that I have a long life ahead of me for my kid, who is 4. And, this weekend, the family and I got out and got to do some stuff. I'll share that here in just a moment. But it just really reaffirmed the fact that I want to be there to live a long life for my kid. My dad died when I was 11, so, he was 52 when I was born. So I guess at 11 he had been 63 when he passed away. That's still 25 years from now in regards to where I'm at in my life. So I'm really hoping to be able to make these changes. Not hoping, I'm going to make these changes so that way I can live a long life for him, for not only Grayson, but for Scarlett, for my wife. So I will tell you, though, one of the things that has really been bugging me over the last few weeks has been kind of where I wanted to, like, let my art take me and what I wanted to do. If you follow me or look at my content, you'll know that I'm a photographer. And I've just decided recently that I'm just tired of photography. I'm kind of tired of taking photos of people. And so, it was really kind of, I always felt obligated. I never felt like I was creating anything that I wanted. I always felt like I was just creating art for other people, and it just, I don't know, it exhausted me. So a couple weeks ago I decided that I'm just not going to do any more photo shoots, only on the rare occasion, and I surprisingly have been very happy with that decision. So I still want to create art. I still have a lot of ideas and things that I want to pursue. If you're looking at either on the live or on my video here to the right of me is kind of a bulletin board of notes for the movie that I'm currently in the middle of writing and going to film and direct. So at the end of the day, I just didn't have enough time to do everything that I wanted to do, and I had to prioritize some things. And every time that I decide to do something for myself, which I think is obviously healthy, but every time I decided to do something for myself, it was taken away from my family. And so something had to give. So photography was it. Still doing the toyography. Still looking to pursue my own business, my own small business, and things like that. So still more of that to come, and we'll talk about that here a little bit later in the show. But for right now, I felt good. I felt good about the decision I made to walk away from doing actual people photography. And so I think a lot of that, between the health and mental health issues that have come up the last couple of weeks, I really do. I feel like I feel better about my decisions. I feel better about my health. I feel better physically. Although, again, the side effects of the medicine has really kind of kicked my ass a little bit. At the end of the day, it was decisions that I needed to make, and I feel really good about it. So what's been going on? In regards to life updates, I got to experience something pretty cool this last week. It was really my son's first real Comic-Con to go to. We went to GalaxyCon here in Oklahoma City, and as far as the con goes, as far as my review for the con, it was a pretty good convention. I'm not here to shit on anybody's convention. Listen, if you're putting up the time and effort to create your own convention and to allow people to be able to come and share and enjoy their fandom, I'm not going to shit on it. Whether I had a good time or not, I'm sure there were a lot of people who had a good time at the convention. I had a good time, though. I think that for what I go to conventions for, I really go for more of the vendors and the art and being able to buy collectibles and things like that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, when it came to variety of product that interests me, I would probably give it a 2 out of 10. There wasn't a lot there that piqued my interest and got me to open up my wallet and buy. But that doesn't mean that, it wasn't a good time. I'll post some videos on my social media and on my YouTube page to give a little bit of insight on how the con itself went. But as an experience, though, it was cool because, first of all, Scarlett, my wife, she cosplayed as Toothless, and as a human version, I guess, of Toothless. And look, my wife, if you don't follow her, it's Nerdy Princess. You can find her all over my social media. She is ridiculously talented, especially when it comes to like makeup and special effects and things like that. For the movie that I'm doing, she'll be doing all the special effects makeup and all the blood and gore that's going to go into it. Well, listen, she is stupidly talented, and she made the biggest part of her cosplay was her tail. Toothless has his long tail with, if you've seen the movie How to Train Your Dragon, it's his long tail, and that part of it is removed, and Hiccup creates like this little flap or whatever so Toothless can fly. So my wife had that, and this thing was like 6 foot tall, 6 foot long. It was kind of funny to see her having to walk around with it and trying to get in and out of it, but she made these little tiny scales that went on to like all of her body, but including the tail, and she super glued it, I believe. I don't know how she put it, whatever, magic, I guess, but she put the scales on her cosplay, and they ended up falling off a little bit throughout the con, and they ended up just everywhere. I mean, shit, even this morning when I got into my car, 2 days later, they were still floating around the car. But she had a great time. Makeup looked great. The cosplay looked great. And my wife, not to like talk about her personal life too much, but she does have some social anxiety, and she has some things that about her that she that she's still going through and things like that. So it's great to be able to see her really be able to kind of just get herself out there and be a social butterfly and allow her art to be seen, and it was great. Grayson, 4 years old, finally kind of enjoying his first real con. We're in the middle of potty training him right now, so I made him a deal the week leading up to the con that if you will pee and poop in the potty, you'll earn $5 a day. So that way you could go buy yourself a Batmobile. It's what he wanted at the con. Go buy yourself a Batmobile. So he was going to earn about $40 to be able to go find himself a Batmobile. He dressed as Batman for the con, went to go try to get himself a Batmobile. And we were there, 10 minutes. And all the excitement and everything just kind of wore out. And he was exhausted after that. We had to get him a snack, kind of give him a little pick-me-up. And then when it came time to finally go look for his Batmobile and buy it, just like any kid, he bought the very first thing he saw and said, fuck the Batmobile. And he bought himself a little Pokemon plush stuffed animal. So he's happy with it. So happy child, I'm happy. We did do some fun stuff though. We went to the video game section and got to play some video games while we were there, and he got to be able to see some Star Wars things. And I think the biggest thing he was probably the most impressed with was there was a Jurassic Park section there that he got to pet a little animatronic velociraptor, a little baby velociraptor, and that made him super happy. So listen, overall as an experience for my family and everything, I had a really fun time. Again, for my fandom, there wasn't a whole lot that hit, but that's okay. Not every con's going to be that way, but for Oklahoma City, that's just trying to build the fan community, trying to get more conventions and larger conventions in town, I think it was a win. I really do. This is the second year they've been. This was my first year to go. And I do think next year I plan on opening a booth. So, which really transitions me into the last life update, and that's really my motivation and my biggest emphasis on trying to build my small business. So, I'm a photographer, like we talked about. Specifically, what I feel like I specialize in is toyography. It's the photograph of action figures and toys, and what I do is I put them in real life settings to try to make them look as real as possible. So imagine, Spider-Man swinging around New York out of the comics, but what if he was swinging around in downtown Oklahoma City or downtown Dallas or Kansas City or whatever place that you call home. That is what I do, and I take those photos and I print them off, and I try to give you a home field connection to them, and I sell them at conventions. So I've been doing this as a hobby for a few years, but really now digging in, trying to really make a small business out of it. And what I've been working on the last few days is figuring out how to create an inventory system. Not only for the photos to make sure that I always keep enough printed, but that I can, in my personal life and my work life, I'm a district manager, district sales manager. So I have a lot of business acumen and business background. But how do I translate that into my own business? And building an inventory system is not as easy as you would think, because there's a lot of variables in it, especially when you're talking about photography, because it's not just those figures. Maybe when I'm talking about taking the picture, how do I describe the picture? How do I inventory it in the system? How do I keep track of it? How do I know? Because the ultimate goal is to take the business and say, okay, I'm going to go to Dallas for Fan Expo. I'm not from Dallas. So what I'd want to do is I'd want to go to Dallas and I'd want to take photos in Dallas to sell at the Dallas Con. But there's also the other side of it. It's like double the travel, right? Because I got to go to Dallas first to take the photos to get the inventory to sell at the con. And so being able to figure out how to track every photo that I have in every city that I'm in and things like that, and then also trying to track the character inventory, if you will, like what figures do I have to take photos of. So if you see in the video right here behind me is a Captain America statue. That's one that I've had for a couple years now that I haven't taken a photo of yet. So I definitely want to be able to build on my inventory, take more photos, but I need to figure out the best way to be able to manage that. So as I kind of go through those growing pains, hopefully if I find anything useful to share for any of the entrepreneurial people out there that are listening to the podcast or watching me, I will definitely share everything I can. I don't want to gatekeep. If you are brave enough to try to venture out and build your own business and make your own small business, I'm there for you. I want to be I want to be a part of your journey. I want to support you, and I hope that you do the same for me. So, listen, at the end of the day, life is never going to be perfect, so we just got to make it work, right? All right, so in this podcast, we talk about life, we talk about fandom, we talk about all the random shit in between. So let's dive into fandom. Let's talk about the things that we love, all right? So for me, I'm a huge gamer. I'm a big sports fan. I love movies. I love TV shows. I consume really just all and any pop culture relevant things. But I also love kind of digging into the past a little bit, and especially for things that I never really completed the first time around. So I've been playing my way through Final Fantasy X. And that was released, I believe it was on the PS2 when it got released. I mean, it's a 20-year-old game. And as a kid, when I played it, I never finished it. I always wanted to, but I was never patient enough to build up my characters enough that I always got my ass kicked when I got about halfway through the game, and I would quit. So I decided, you know what, for whatever reason, let me dig back into the game. I want to play. I want to see how it finishes. So I dove right on into it. And for Final Fantasy X, I gotta tell you, the game I think still holds up 20 years later. I mean, are the graphics as good as they are today? No. It was really the first Final Fantasy game that they came out with that allowed for actual voiceover versus just having to read the text. And so the voice acting, listen, I'm not a voice actor, so I make no judgment one way or the other, but some of it was pretty choppy. And quite frankly, Titus is a little bit of a whiny bitch, but that's okay. I think the storyline itself still really holds up. And in a world where, religious topics and religious debates are as prevalent as ever, the fact that this game has really religious undertones to it, I think it makes it relevant 20 years later. Talking about the idea between church and religion and tradition versus, quite frankly, just being happy, and things like that. Like, I think that ultimately the storyline still had a lot of significance today. The characters I thought were great, just like I remembered them when I was a kid trying to play the game. However, there were some things that I thought could have been better in the game. I think that, first of all, I think a remake is deserving of this game. I think that it would be really fun to revisit Spira and to revisit these characters in a more modern tone and with today's graphics and design. I thought the Final Fantasy VII remake, I know there's a lot of people who want to shit on it, but I thought the Final Fantasy VII remake and Rebirth were phenomenal games. Much improved from the original Final Fantasy VII, obviously. So I think you can make a remake of this game. I do think there's got to be a few things you got to change, though. First things first, I kind of stumbled across this, didn't even mean to. I wasn't really going after all the Aeons. I wasn't really trying to, beat the game at 100%. But I went after a few Aeons, and Yojimbo was one of them that I went after. And I was shocked to see when I'm fighting Sin at the very end, fighting Jet. Anyways, Titus's dad. That when you're fighting him, like, it's kind of a tough battle. And so I'm summoning my Aeons, and I summon Yojimbo, and if you know anything about the character from the game, you pay him. He's basically a merchant for hire. So you pay him to be able to attack, and based off what you pay him and the relationship you have with him and things like that, the attacks can be just simplistic or they can be big. And I don't remember the name of the attack, but it just killed Chet like right away, like sliced him in half, and then the fight was over. So I thought surely that wasn't intentional. So I think something like that. I think you got to revisit the fighting metrics of the game, the Aeons and things like that. And I also think that you have to kind of revisit a little bit of like Seymour, the main antagonist, he's terrible. He's creepy. I think you got to reevaluate the character design itself, like how he looks is fine, but I mean, I don't know how old Eunice's supposed to be in the game, but it was very like weird and pedophile-y that he was wanting to marry her and things like that. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way, and I think it was cringy. So I think you change a couple of things with that. Give it some better graphics. Really dig into the fighting of the game. I think that it is poised for a remake. I have no interest in Final Fantasy X-2. thought about playing it. Came with the bundle that I bought on PlayStation, but I just think it's a hard pass for me on that. So, Final Fantasy X though, if I had to rate it, and I don't really know how to necessarily, I don't have anything to compare it to, I guess, like because there was a lot of nostalgia there for me as well playing it, but. Listen, it was a solid game. I think if you've never played it and you're interested in Final Fantasy, it definitely, that is the one thing I will tell you, that it has me head deep in, diving in head first in Final Fantasy lore. Like, I'm replaying Final Fantasy 13 right now as well. I'll probably eventually go back and replay the remake and rebirth of Final Fantasy 7, so it has me definitely diving deep into the Final Fantasy lore, and by far, without a doubt, the best music of any Final Fantasy game we've had. Definitely the best music, by far, in my personal opinion. What was funny was I was getting close to the end of the game, but I had to travel for work. I had to go out to San Diego, and as me and one of my peers were going through the airport, I hear a piano playing. There's a piano for passengers to sit and play while they're going through the airport, and this individual who was playing the piano, who was doing a fantastic job, by the way, I was like, where did I hear that song from? And I realized that he was playing the Xanarkin theme from Final Fantasy X. So I stopped and kind of recorded a little bit, told him he did a great job, like it was really cool. We talked about the game for a little bit. So very interesting to out of all the things I think I would have heard at the airport, I didn't think it was going to be that. So Final Fantasy X, solid game, definitely should check it out. But that's what I just wrapped up playing, diving into Final Fantasy 13 now. In the world of video games, mixing in with some live action television, Sunday night, yesterday, was the season finale of season 2 from The Last of Us, and I thought it was a great season. I don't know how you guys feel about the game. I don't know, or the show. I don't know if you ever played the game. And I really haven't paid attention to like reviews, spoiler, post Joel's death, and how people are perceiving the show. But I thought it actually has set up pretty nice. I've really enjoyed. Now 7 episodes. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, how do we only get 7 episodes for? First of all, this game is the game and the storyline is so thick. Like, how do you flush it out in that few of episodes? But also, like, we got like 7. We're gonna have to wait like 2 or 3 more years for season 3. So 7 episodes, not enough. But let's talk about the show. So after 2 seasons, I don't think that I am sold on Bella Ramsey being Ellie. It has nothing to do with the way she looks. It has more to do with her acting style. I just don't. I'm struggling to see Ellie in her when she's acting. Now I think the actress is great. I think that I just don't think she fits Ellie. Like, as someone who loves this game, who's very passionate about the storyline, who has Ellie's tattooed on my arm, I don't know. I'm just not sold on her as Ellie. I think that I think 2 seasons in, I think we're miscast. Now there were some highlights, a couple episodes after the episode right after Joel died. Her waking up in the hospital, still in terror of what she witnessed and what she saw, I thought was great. I thought the line last episode, or 2 episodes ago, where she finds out that Dina's pregnant, and she says, "I'm going to be a dad." Like, I thought that was well delivered. I thought it was funny. But all in all, I just don't see Ellie when I see her. But with that being said, I thought that the season ended well. I thought that the season finale was a very solid episode. I don't think it was the best episode of the season, but I do think it was a really solid episode. But I did have a couple of things that really I was scratching my head on. So, first things first, what was the point? If you watched the episode, what was the point of Ellie being shipwrecked onto the island with the scars? Because when it happened, I thought to myself, like, I don't remember this from the game, and I was like, okay, well, they're going away from the game storyline a little bit, and that's okay. They've done that all along from the very first episode on how the infected communicate and kind of their internal systems of communication and stuff like that with the fungus. So I was like, okay, I'm all for changes. She gets on the island. The scars come out. They grab her. They go to hang her. Then you hear, obviously, the attack from the wolves, which I thought to myself, like, maybe that was it. Maybe that was just them trying to tell us, the audience, that the wolves are there on the island and that's where they were all heading. But I feel like we were smart enough to know that without having this scene. So Ellie gets let loose. She crawls back to the boat, gets back on, and then goes to the aquarium. There was no reason for it. There was absolutely no reason for the scene. It felt out of place. I don't see, unless if maybe someone can educate me, but I just didn't see the reason why. And I felt like it really kind of took me out of the show for a little bit. But when we got into the aquarium, very reminiscent of the game, walking in on the conversation, and everything that happened in regards to Ellie killing the two individuals, Abby's friends. I don't remember their names. I thought the way that they ended up killing the pregnant lady was it was obviously different than the game. I at first didn't care for the whole cut my baby out part of it, but I think that the point was to really kind of traumatize Ellie a little bit, and I think they did a good job of it. So okay, cool. Then they show up, they take Ellie out, they go back to the theater. Here's why I thought they made a fantastic decision. So the show's setting up. I'm looking at the timer. I'm like, knowing how the game goes, how are they going to do this? And they ended season 3 and season 2 and gave us the setup for season 3 in the most accurate way possible to the game. Like the killing of Jesse when he runs out, shot right in the head. Like, that was so shocking in the game. I knew it was coming here, and it still had a shocking effect to it. The way that Abby's like, I let you live and you killed my friends. Very reminiscent of the game. And then the gunshot right at the end cuts to black. I thought to myself, oh, well, that's where they're going to end it. And then you see Abby wake up. And you hear the interaction between her and Manny, I think it was. Anyways, and she gets up and she steps out into the little patio area, and you see that they're in the football stadium. And you see the title card coming in the corner, Seattle, day 1. And then the show's over. Clearly, season 3 is going to be Abby's story. And if you played the game, you're of one of two minds. I know whenever I first played it, I thought, fuck, I don't want to play as Abby. Like, I hate her. Like, she killed Joel, she killed, Jess. Like, I don't want to play as her. But, I do think that, us going into season 3, we're not going to not see Ellie. We're not going to not see Joel. But it's definitely taking the approach of, hey, the way the game did, where you got to play the next 4 or 5 hours of gameplay as Abby. And you've got to learn her character and her backstory, and you've got to commit to this character. And for them to do Season 2 into Season 3 the same way, I thought was a great decision. I've seen a lot of the reviews online talking about how it was a shitty way of ending the show, and the cliffhanger felt lacking. But if you played the game, you know what's coming next. And although I still hate the game for making me play as Abby, the fact is that she's a very fascinating character. And her storyline in this, and in those 3 days in Seattle, the character growth you're going to see out of Abby, I thought this was a great way to be able to end it. So, kudos to the creators of The Last of Us. I look forward to Season 3. Be fucking great if you could get it out tomorrow, but I get it. So I really am looking forward to it. And listen, if you're a fan of The Last of Us like I am, I hope you're really enjoying the show. If you have just your only context is knowing what comes from the show that we're watching right now, hopefully you're enjoying the show. I think it's the best video game adaptation to live action that we've ever had. So I love it. Can't wait for season 3. But tell me, listen, what do you love? Like, in the comments, let me know what your fandom is. The whole point of me kind of doing this podcast is to be able to experience what other people love and enjoy. And that sounded borderline dirty, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I want to know your fandom. So I don't care how weird it is. I don't care what you think of it. I want to know. I want to experience your fandom with you. Listen, at the end of the day, life is too short to let people hate on what you love. Alright, so we're diving right on in. Here's all the random shit that is in between life and your fandom. So here's our random topics of the show today. On the things that I thought was made up. If you are a millennial, you know the terror that is driving down the interstate and seeing a truck hauling a load of cut down logs and knowing what disastrous events could take place next. And again, on the list of things that I thought was fucking made up, a showing of the Final Destination movie, Bloodlines, I think is the name of it, which I haven't seen yet. I want to see. It looks really good. Trailers look good. I hear the reviews are great. Watching the viewing of the Final Destination movie, a theater had their roof collapse during the showing of the movie. How fucking insane is that? Look, I'm not going to go into the Final Destination movie thinking to myself that, you know, is this shit going to happen here? I am in Oklahoma. We're in the thick of tornado season right now. There's no way I'm not going to think of going into that movie and something disastrous happening for death to come hunting us. That is so random and unreal. Out of all the showings, out of all the things that could have happened, to be showing Final Destination and the theater roof collapse. Could you imagine the fucking panic? There was definitely people who shit their pants. There was definitely people. I mean, I would have. Are you kidding me? Like, that has scared the shit out of me. Sitting here watching this movie and these horrific deaths, which I'm sure they do a great job with, and all of a sudden, death comes hunting for you. If you walked out of that theater alive, you're fucked. Like just death's coming for you. You better rewatch every single Final Destination movie to figure out how the hell you're going to survive, because 1000% death's coming for you. That is so. I don't know if anyone was hurt. Honestly, this story is more of a headline story for me. I should probably dig in more. Hopefully, everyone's safe. But holy shit, that is unreal. Final Destination. You're sitting there watching the movie. The fucking theater roof collapses on you. How fucking random was that? That is so nuts. Listen, I just... Oh, again, hopefully everyone's safe. Hopefully the movie's good. Hopefully the theater... I'm sure the theater comped them, like, tickets, and, you know, if they comped them a bucket of large popcorn and a soda, that's, like, at least a $75 compensation right there, right? So hopefully everyone's safe. But again, if you walked out of the theater alive, good luck. Good luck. Remember to love all the awkward moments that are between life and death. Okay, this is my calling to you. Remember to love all the awkward moments between life and death. Thanks for being here, guys. Remember, go like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Help support. I love to be able to interact with you guys. Definitely comment. I want to know your fandom. Let me know what you think of today's show. And I'll see you guys next time at the same Batmandrew time on the same Batmandrew channel. Thanks, guys. Listen, in a world of post-credit scenes, we're definitely going to have our own, right? So, here's what's coming up next. Fan Expo in Dallas is going to be next weekend. My wife and I were heading down to Dallas on Friday the 30th. The con is from the 30th through the 1st. Going to have a great time. This is like our 4th time going to Fan Expo. It's always a great convention. But this year is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to actually get my first like autograph and photo with a celebrity. I'm going to go meet Zachary Levi, who played Shazam, and I'm going to have him actually sign a printed copy of my choreography of photo of Shazam, and I'm going to give him a copy of it. So I'm looking forward to it. And definitely more topics on Fan Expo to come, more content for Fan Expo to come. So stay tuned.